I was very lucky to meet her completely by accident, actually. I was looking up gyms in Australia that were like powerlifting gyms in my parents' house, and I saw that Liz had one, and I reached out to her, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, definitely come and visit." And then when I saw her name, I'm like, "I swear I've seen that name before." And then I looked back, and I was like, "Oh my god, I watched her lift at the World Championships. This girl is incredible." So I had like fangirled over social media for a while. So Liz is a world champion powerlifter. She has how many world records now?
I've broken the world record squat about 8 times, and deadlift twice, and total once.
Yeah.
Total once.
And that's open. So what about Masters World Records?
I have all the Masters, the airline records, and Oceanias, and National, and Commonwealth.
Yeah. So Liz is old enough to be a Masters lifter, but is the world champion as an open lifter. So
it's my birthday next week.
Happy Sweet 16!
Yeah. So, Liz, let me tell us a little bit about your life before you started lifting.
Alright, so firstly, I would have been the least likely person to ever excel in sports, ever. I grew up in a little town in South Africa, and my parents were intellectuals. We immigrated to Australia. I did no sport. I did art, I did read, and kind of threw the ball to myself. And our family fell apart, and I played the piano, etc. And the first time I went to play in front of people, I got stage fright, and I shook. And my dream had been to be a rock star. And that day, I knew that I was a failure, and that I proved everyone right that I was a failure. And that was the first day I got drunk. And then for 18 years, I kind of was drunk and wasted a lot of time. I need to calm down now. But I hated myself, and I was in a circle of self-hatred. I'd wake up, hate myself, get drunk. I was still working as a drunk, and then hate myself again the next day. Well, I spent 18 years, I can't remember what happened. And my dad, who had actually been my best support through all that time, he never gave up on me. He got sick. You're not brought up to cry. What's going on today?
I'm so grateful for sharing this.
You can be proud of who I am when I look in the mirror. You're still going to have your days and you think, I should have done something better. After that, helping my dad, and it's helped me, my mum, become close again. And by pure chance, I was walking through the mall, and there were people selling those memberships to Fitness First. For some reason I went, you know what? I'm going to join. So I joined the gym, and you get 3 free PT sessions, and I got the trainer, not the trainer I wanted, but the trainer I needed, because he was hard, and he would absolutely destroy me. And especially if I was hungover, he did not take any crap from me, which I was used to getting away with so much stuff. And he actually mentored me. I became a trainer, this was about 12 years ago, and I apprenticed myself to him because he was such a good trainer. And he was one of the first people also that believed in me. And I started doing CrossFit, and I realised that I was keeping up with the girls that were 70 kilos, like 20 kilos more than me. I all of a sudden understood that I was strong. So that was something that I could hold on to. And with each step, I started believing in myself a little bit more. And I met my husband Leon, who's awesome. And I became pregnant with Abigail. And at that stage, I'd been to regionals one time, and I was trying to get back to the regionals. And after I had Abby, I was trying to get strong again for CrossFit because I was completely obsessed. And my strength coach said to me, "Your lifts are good enough." And this was 3 months after having Abby because I was quite mental. If you know addictive personalities, I was addicted to one thing, then I found sport and I could not give it up the whole time I was pregnant, which, wasn't ideal. But so 3 months after having Abigail, I went to nationals and I discovered the sport. I didn't even know powerlifting was a sport. And I went, this is a sport which I can do and I don't have to do row sprints or wall balls. And there's weight classes, so I can win. And that just blew my mind. And there was also CrossFit. I love the community, and powerlifting has a really big community feel as well. From that, as soon as I started getting confident, I kind of became quite cocky actually. And I talked my way into going to Worlds. So that also blew my mind. So coming from somebody who had absolutely no sports experience, I never played sport in school, to representing my country was such a big deal. Also, after I had Abby, I had a really big diastasis, which was a split in my abs, and my physio had told me that I'd never be able to lift weight again, and I said, I'll show you. So I looked up everything I could find. That's why I'm so into learning how to activate your transverse. And today, when I activate it through my transverse, my split can close up. So I'm able to lift a lot of heavy weight.
My God, Olivia records. While we're on you mentioned having Abby and training through doing CrossFit and everything through pregnancy. Because I've got other questions I want to ask you, but
She really wants to make me cry today.
yeah, we might
Break it out.
So tell me about your experience on the first training with Abby and through that pregnancy, and when you started back, did you have good coaches there that helped you to come back the right way, or would you no?
No, I started back with very intense CrossFit, which was training 3 times a day. I just couldn't do it, not with a new baby. So it was going through again, you were feeling like a failure. You can't do the work. So when I actually found powerlifting, it was so good for me because it was enough work that I could get better, but I wasn't destroying myself. And you just can't do that kind of thing while you have a tiny baby that you're trying to feed and you're not getting sleep. I was training at 11 o'clock at night, that sort of thing. If I could do that pregnancy again, I would actually try and enjoy it instead of resenting that it's like, I love my daughter, she's the best thing that ever happened, but I didn't like being pregnant. Because I didn't like the gift that I'd been given, that strength, I felt it's been taken from me, yeah. But you don't realise how good it is until after the baby's born. You're like, this is amazing. 15 years ago, I never thought I'd get married. I never thought I'd be a mum. I thought I'd be dead within a couple of years, And I kind of wanted to be,
As a coach now, what sort of recommendations do you give to your clients when they pregnant and post-pregnancy?
So the lesson I learned is you have to listen to yourself. It's what Sonia was saying. You know what you can do. You can't listen to some guy telling you this is what you've got to do, these 3 workouts, when you are crumbling. You need to listen and understand and work within those boundaries. Because when you're pregnant, you're growing a life inside of you. And that's a miracle, isn't it? So you need to adjust to that. So my clients, I work on a RPE, which is perceived rate of exertion. That's how I program my clients and how I get programmed. I've trained many mums and mums-to-be, and if they're pregnant, we work about RPE 7, which is quite low. They still want to feel like they're doing something. You still want to stay strong, because when you're a mum, you need to be strong. But you don't want to deplete yourself. What's the point in that? Yeah, that's a whole year you've lost just hating yourself again. We want to spend our years loving ourselves, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then post-pregnancy, what is your process then when you're working with client?
Again, I take it slow, and you've got to work bit by bit. So I go from what I experience. Like, I get everybody to be able to use their trend first. You wouldn't believe how many people, including myself, don't know how to activate their core. I didn't know before I was pregnant. Since I had to learn, I now know how to activate my core, which it's something we should learn in school, really. That's something that will stop you having back issues, you'll be able to lift your shopping, you know.
We should learn it as children, and every coach should be the first thing they learn.
It should be. Yeah. So that's where I start. They include activation as well, because when you've been holding a belly, you want to stand like this. You want to learn to get back to your neutral position, you know, your strong position. And we just build slowly. Like, I wouldn't go as crazy as I was, but you know, some people mentally need to work to feel good. So
I don't want to make you cry, but you might cry now, because I'd like you to tell the story about what happened last year.
Last year I got pregnant again, and I ended up losing the baby. And I posted, I thought about it a long time, and I ended up posting it because it's such a, we don't talk about it, and it's almost like it's something that we should just get on and move on. But I wasn't pregnant, it was my 8th week I lost the baby, but for 6 weeks I was believing I was going to be a mum, and I bought maternity clothes and started planning, and so you start to, that's who you identify as, you know what I mean? So after that, I just thought, why doesn't anyone talk about it? So I posted up on my Instagram and just told them my story. And so many women were grateful, because why should we be ashamed of something? That's what we're put on the earth, you know, part of what our magic is, isn't it? You know, yeah. It was very sad, but you've got to move on, don't you?
Yeah. I think one of the things that was really powerful in that, when you shared that, was that you said that you felt like you were like failing as a woman.
Yeah. As females, we're pushed and pulled in so many different ways. I need to be world champion, and I need to be the best coach. If I want any guys to come and train with me, I need to be world champion and the best coach that's there. And then I need to be able to have babies and look after my babies and be a good wife. And you know, where does it end? I'm pushed and pulled everywhere, and then you end up being kind of mediocre at many things, or you neglect things which might be more important. And so what, in 10 years, if I've been world champion, does that make me a good person? Not really. It means I've worked hard at something, you know. But what I need to focus on rather is my daughter. She's the future, you know. Am I giving her attention? You know, because because my business is my phone. My daughter often tells me, "Mum, you're on the phone all the time. I want some attention." And I think that's my resolution: is get off the bloody phone, because that thing is a trap. Look, I couldn't find before. Did you see me? I was going mental. Yeah. And it Anna said, if you look at your phone, when you get up, that's it, you're everybody else's. You're not your own for that day. It's so true. I often am everybody else's, and then there's my family going, hey, you know.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. I know that there are people in the room that are relating to you, and I agree that these are conversations that women are told that they should have shame around, and we as women should be able to support each other in that. And it might not be miscarriage, it might be that I know there are women that are struggling to try to have babies and feeling like they're not getting the support that they need around that, and that they don't feel like they have people to talk to.
It's very inspiring that you just go on stage and put it out like that. Like, not many people will be okay with admitting that they wanted to not be covered.
Yeah.
So,
well, I hope that, because I still feel ashamed of those years. I still, sometimes when I'm driving, it just hits me. I think, you think of all those things, they go back, there's obviously stuff I'm still going to deal with. But at least I want to, and I want to be alive.
you ended up here, so.
I know. Can you believe it? Some days I pinch myself and I go, I have been given such a gift. I was in the gutter, and now people, they find me inspiring. How did that happen, I was going to be a party girl. So dancing was not good.
We'll see. We'll get her up later.
Can someone teach me to twerk? I bet you can.
So at what point did you realise that you had the potential to become a world champion?
When you do your lifting or your training, those thoughts of you're not good enough, etc., will always be going through your head, even just before you're going to do a squat, which I do not recommend. It doesn't help, but you can't help it. I had talked my way to get into Worlds. I was training, and I knew I was not good enough. I came second last when I went there, but I just enjoyed the experience. I was there with the Australian team, and I was training, and the Russian coach saw me squatting, and he came up to me and he said, if I trained you, you could be the best in the world. And obviously I didn't believe him, and I just kind of went, yeah, whatever. But then it kept going through my head, and I thought, why not try? Because I was too afraid to try, since stuff like that performative thing where I failed in front of everybody when I was going to prove to them how well I could play the piano. I was too afraid to ever try to be good at anything again. I was a good artist, and I was frightened by the blank page. I didn't even want to start drawing just in case it was bad. So this one thought where I thought, why not? That's kind of changed my life, because then I took some steps to try to be the best in the world. And this went through my head over and over again. Somebody thinks I could be the best in the world. And I started with a new coach, and better coaching, and each little success made me believe in myself a little bit more. So I tell my clients often, they're having a bad time, I say, you choose one thing in your life, make it better, and will lead to another thing. Even if it's just sleep, even just trying to get to bed early, try and drink your water. You drink your water, you feel better, you're nicer to people. One little step, focus on one thing, don't think about everything, and I think the rest will follow. That's what happened to me. A few people believed in me, and then it started leading to me believing in myself.
How did you find your coach?
Mike T. He was at Worlds, and I think I drank a few vodkas. And because to be honest, what I used to be addicted to was not. It's never been the problem of alcohol. It's been the problem of oblivion. I just wanted oblivion. I didn't want to feel anything. So that's what I used to be addicted to. But I met Mike in Suzdal in Russia, and I just spoke to him, and he seemed like a really nice, unassuming guy. He's just the most polite person ever. And but he's very clever, and he allowed me with his coaching to be quite independent, which I liked. So I became self-reliant. So doing the RPE, you choose your own numbers, basically. So I now, if I go to a competition, I know exactly how I feel. So he's in America, but he just checks in with me every now and then. So I pretty much coach myself, which also helps me feel better about myself.
Okay, just gives me a recipe. I think especially as a more experienced lifter, I've found my coach does uses a similar.
They're both similar.
Yeah, very similar. And I found when I was on a different type of program that was like you had to hit certain numbers every session, and it was based on percentages. There were days where I would turn up and those numbers either weren't possible or I felt terrible lifting them, and so I felt like I was failing in those sessions. So going on to a RPE, rate of perceived exertion scale, where depending on how I felt that day, some days you'd be like, I'm killing it, so you put up the weight heavier than you thought you would be lifting.
Yeah.
And then other days you would just go lighter, but it was,
You don't feel bad.
yeah, there's no failing in
No
it.
guilt.
I've also found that was really helpful based on my hormonal cycle.
Yeah.
So, do you find you adapt around, like, is there times in your cycle where you're feeling stronger or?
Yes. So I've actually worked out, sometimes I realise that I'm coming up to my period by how bad my lifting feels. Because I do my lifting, I'm like, well, this feels a lot heavier than it should. And then I look and I say I'm a couple of days out. So RP is very handy to adjust to that. And you know what? You don't have to feel bad about lifting. Just be glad that you're there lifting. Do not let your training be a rod to beat yourself with, because it's meant to make us better. And as my female athletes, they are the hardest on themselves because we are so scared of failing. But a guy, like you were saying with the strong fit, a guy you'd say, all right, we're going to go for this number, but you're like, yeah, I am. Let me do it for a double, and the girl would be like, I don't know, I could fail, so I don't actually want to try. So one thing we've got to learn is to talk to ourselves and say, it doesn't matter if we fail. I love that about lifting is you actually get used to failing, and you don't die. You're still there. You just failed. The weight just didn't come up, and next time it might.
Yeah.
Failure, it's important to learn how to fail and be able to face it.
Yeah. One of the things I found really useful for me was when I started tracking my period. So over time, you start to see trends because you track your training and you track your period. So you'll see at which times in your cycle you'll feel stronger and maybe not as strong, because that will change person to person. I can't say to you, oh, your first day of your period, you're going to feel terrible. Because some people feel really strong that week.
It's actually that you're meant to start feeling, in theory, you're meant to start feeling stronger as soon as your period comes. It's just not comfortable.
So you need to learn self-awareness, and tracking I found a really good way to start understanding my own body that way.
It's actually quite hard though, because there'll be times when I have to compete and my period is coming, and it's good. There's nothing I can do about it. So I've got to not let those thoughts get into my head. You're going to be weaker. You're going to be weak. And all of us will have negative thoughts come in. One of the best ways I've learned to deal with it is you just go, there's that thought. That's okay. And then just go straight back into your positive thoughts again. Like, I'm Liz Craven, I don't miss my squats. I'm Liz Craven, I don't miss my squats. I'll walk up to the bar thinking that. Actually, that was one
She
thing.
has another one, but she says.
I do with swear words.
She's like, I don't know if I can say that on camera.
That's gangster. But I remember I was at a competition, and I've been top in Australia for a while, but you know, I was terrified before. I was telling some people today, before I went and did my first squat, I would often go and throw up in the bathroom and then try and hide there and think nobody will find me and I just can go home. But these days, I don't feel so as frightened. I still feel it, but now I recognise it. I go, there's that feeling. And I was feeling nervous, and one of the guys goes to me, of course you're going to hit it. You're Liz, not a freaking Craven. And I was like, that's gone through my head ever since. That's my mantra. Somebody made me a t-shirt with the actual swear words written on my sleeve. I thought I would bring that.
I love that. And every time I see you lifting, I think of that. And I've got other friends who they use that, and they're like channeling Liz.
Yeah.
Before they lift.
Big
So I'd like you to talk about what your experience is when you've got older clients. What sort of adaptations do we need to make? And I've noticed that I've had to change how I train, and I've got to really spend more time on recovery and just I can't thrash myself the way I did years ago.
it's a hard conversation to have with your clients. I do have some older ones that were doing quite a lot of work, and I've told them most of the magic will happen in your recovery, most of your strength gains, and you do the work, you work at your RPE, but then you need to recover. And so I've reduced days for them so that they can actually feel fresh every time they train. And I've had to reduce my volume. I was actually training 5 hours a day for 4 days a week plus extra rehab, prehab, which was too much. And I burnt out by the end of last year. So now I'm on about 2.5-hour sessions, 4 times a week, and that's about it. And I feel way better for it. I'm actually hitting higher numbers much sooner than before, because you also have guilt associated with not working as hard. You know, you think, am I being lazy? And you know, maybe you're just being smart.
The thing is, a lot of women come to the gym and they feel like they have to sweat, they have to leave the gym out of breath. And that's what makes them feel that they actually work. They don't understand, it takes sometimes that kind of workout and sometimes something more relaxed.
Do you feel yourself when you have your rest days? Do you feel the itch to work out? Do you feel down?
So the question was, on your rest days, do you feel that need to work out?
Not really. I used to. Yeah, I was obsessive with it, with the training. These days, with the heavy weights, you end up being quite tired mentally afterwards. You don't actually get sore, but it's mentally draining. A lot of heavy lifting is all in your brain, isn't it? It's your confidence. So I need to chill out. What I do want to do is, we were all talking about it this morning, is meditation, learn some of that, how to calm myself down. I do like going for a walk or something that is pleasure. When I was doing is it the Circle of Life? Yeah, I think that I was missing out on most of this fun. And that's because everything I do is for a purpose, for work, so what I want, and I love going for a walk, listening to music or something. That's what I want to add more to my rest days. Makes it fun. Be a better human.
Those are normally the people that need to go spend that hour on the day off, going for a walk on the beach alone, and having to have their thoughts. Because most of us are trying to not have our thoughts. Or do a yoga class, do something with communing with nature, do something creative. Why can't you use that hour that you would train to do something to refill that battery? so that when you do your hour of training the next day, you're actually going to get benefit from it. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's that whole thing of having training be the rod that beats you. It shouldn't be. It should be something that makes you better.
I always feel like I love being on the go and having a lot of things to do. And when I have that day, say it's my rest day, it's like I'm gonna crawl out of my skin.
Yeah.
So
We can be
you
uncomfortable
can
in our
schedule
own.
something for yourself. Like I'll schedule an hour at the beach.
Yeah.
So like my schedule has something in it.
Yeah.
It's not that I have nothing.
Yeah.
Because I was like that for many years.
Yeah.
Like I didn't ever stop. So now I'll schedule into my, okay, this is going to be an hour where I'm going to make something. And I'll have a creative project, or sometimes it's like a friend that I haven't seen for a long time that really makes me laugh every time I see them. And I'll plan it into my schedule. So some of us like to have a plan.
Yeah.
So then you're succeeding at still ticking things off your list.
Yeah.
Because we want to have wins. as
Have
well.
fun too.
Yeah.
But so it's also important to learn to be comfortable by yourself, even just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just stare at a wall, because sometimes you just need it.
Yeah.
Recharge yourself, definitely. So I think that's a good time for me to ask about that difference between training to compete versus training for health. Because you and I both obviously are very intimately familiar with what it takes to be a competitive athlete.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people come into the gym and they see what we're doing and they try to do what we're doing, but they're just trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
So
You're not going to be healthy trying to be an elite athlete.
it's true. It's an extreme.
It's an extreme. So I spend a lot of money on physio, osteo, all kinds of treatments just to kind of keep my body together when I'm heading. When you're coming out for a comp, you're thinking about everything you eat. You're thinking about every training session, trying to be ready for it. And that's kind of not healthy. You've got to be and you've really got to want it. Your body is under a lot of stress. As you're coming to a peak, a lot of niggles will come out. There'll be injuries. Whereas if you're just training for health, I just train strength twice a week or something. Instead of 4 times a week. My joints hurt often, but that's because I don't do my rehab, which I should be doing.
Yeah. Well, it's something that's been quite prominent for me in the last 6 months. I did less than that. Worlds was October.
Yeah.
So I've spent all of last year training for competitions, and now my focus was trying to make this happen. But it meant that I haven't had energy to be able to commit to training, and I've decided that I know what it takes to be competitive, and that I don't have the mental capacity or the physical capacity to do all of it at once. So right now my training is I do my main lifts, like I squat, bench, and deadlift at least once a week, and then I jump in a CrossFit class that sort of fits with some of the stuff that I need once a week. So I'm getting in 3 or 4 hours of training a week,
As opposed to like my 20.
Yeah, and because that's what I had to do when I was competing, and I know that when I'm prep for my next comp, that's what I'll do. But each time I lift, I'm still hitting similar numbers. I still jump into CrossFit WODs, and I beat all the members. Like I haven't lost anything by doing less. If anything, people keep telling me that I keep losing weight, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm losing my gains. But I physically feel like I'm capable of handling stuff in my life because I'm doing less.
If you want to be the best in the world, it has to be your number one focus and nothing else. Everything else fades away into insignificance. You have to be driven, and you have to leave no stone unturned. And that's something I realised. I've hit most of my goals, and this year I'm kind of thinking, do I want to go back to that again, because it's pretty full on, you know, and it can be very lonely because my training partners don't want to do that, you know. I'm still there training after they've left, and my family aren't doing that. So, but you've got to really want it.
The thing about the thing about training for a competition, like when I went into competing, it was technically by accident. I just tried it out and I qualified. It was for the Battle of the East, and then I trained for it, and it started to get like stressful, and I just didn't want to do it. I just wanted to get into the competition and stop. It stopped being fun for me.
It stops being fun.
Yeah, and you
100%.
just have to like want it, and everyone's looking up to you, like at the gym, and then
Yes.
it's just that stress.
Because then actually you feel pressure
Yeah.
that you think you're going to let everyone
Because
down if
even-
you don't get your lifts.
Yeah, even that year, I got like I was having fun the first day, but then people were like, "Oh, you're in third, and you should like push yourself to stay in third." And then I stopped having fun, focused on staying high on the leaderboard, and I lost it. I went
Oh
down.
yeah, I know that feeling. Because actually you kind of sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. The one thing I hate, people ask me on competition day, they come and go, "Hey, you feel confident? You feel confident?"
Exactly.
No, I don't. Thank you for asking.
In competition, you'd see me like laughing at myself for not getting a movement, whereas others would just cry about it.
Okay.
But the thing is, you want to still have fun and compete. People don't really get that.
That's what I'm trying. I want to find again. I want to bring it back to fun for me. Instead of just being, this is how I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm worthwhile. I should be here. You know what I mean? I deserve my space. But that's not fun.
That's what happened to me when I accidentally won twice. Everyone's like, "Oh, she's getting podium finishes and everything," and then I got represented. I was started representing Lemon, and then Red Bull started paying me. So then I got so much pressure from Red Bull asking me like, "When are you going to podium? You need to podium and represent," and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And they used to compare me with other athletes that podium and asking me like, "Why are they podiuming? Like, why are they getting podium finishes and you're not?" So it was very
That's
hard
too much.
for me. Yeah, it was a lot of pressure from them, a lot of pressure from my mom asking me, "Why are girls better than you?" A lot of pressure from just people there saying, "Oh, we've been watching you train in air fight. What's up with your ranking? Like, why aren't you ranking third or second or first? Why are you at fifth?" And I'm like, listen, girls have been training all freaking year, and you don't all have to be first or second. I'm putting my 100%, like my efforts were all there, but then at the same time, I started doubting myself and my capabilities and all my efforts and every blood, sweat, tear that I've put throughout the year to be like stripped naked.
Yeah.
Everybody was just bashing, "What happened with Kiki? What happened? What happened?" And I'm like, nothing freaking happened.
Yeah.
I gave it my best. I didn't place. Who the frick cares?
Yeah.
I'm there and I'm enjoying it
It's so
myself.
wrong
But
that
then,
they did that to you.
yeah, and I think it's, unfortunately, it's because I'm from here and I represent the UAE, and a lot of people expect people from the UAE to be first, because when Dubai does something, they do something extremely extravagant and they always place first. And it's like, if you have been posting all of these things on social media, working with all of these coaches, why aren't you placing first? And it's like, where have your efforts been? And so I think,
It just takes time.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And plus, I eat food. I don't take, stuff. I'm not sniffing things in the corner. So yeah, it does take time when you're doing things naturally, and you're trying to find the balance between recovery and days off and training. And of course, I was overtraining because
You go back.
when we were, I was going backwards and I hurt myself out after that pump and I got injured. So I was doing too much and I hit a wall when I was there. But I didn't say that, because if I said that, people would be like, "Oh, you're just making excuses," you know, like. But I did. I hit a wall there because I saw that everybody was performing great, and I was just like, "Why am I not getting there?" And I kept asking myself that, and I think it's because I wasn't taking days off, and I was training way too much.
Yeah.
And the question that so that's a comment. Just to share. So my question is, what advice do you give to some women who are trying to excel at two sports?
She's like,
we do. We have a lot of girls here that look up to Mia Ackerland. And Mia Ackerland is amazing at CrossFit. She's placed like top places in sanctioned events in CrossFit. And she is an Olympic weightlifter representing Sweden. And she's incredibly strong. But girls do not understand how much time she puts into recovery and food and sleep and just basically downtime. And girls try to, they would be like, yeah, but why is she like that? And we are trying to be like that, but we can't.
so can I speak to that before you give what your advice would be? In that example, people don't realize the years of work it's taken to get her to that level. And to be an elite CrossFit athlete, you have to be an exceptional technical lifter.
Yeah.
So it's not that she's doing two sports. She's got very good within the sport that she does, and the top CrossFit athletes happen to also be able to be a high level in both. When I stopped competing in CrossFit, my first powerlifting event, I got an elite total. It wasn't, most people don't get a total like that in their first powerlifting competition. But I did because I come from CrossFit. So it's not about like trying to be good at two sports. But what sort of advice do you give to someone who's trying to compare themselves to an elite athlete?
Well, when I was doing CrossFit, all we used to do was smash ourselves and try and get better that way. There was no thought in any programming. All we did 40-minute WODs, for goodness sake, and we just tried to destroy ourselves. If I could do it again, I would have gotten strong first, because I would have been a much better CrossFitter. Now, when I do the movements, I'm way better at the movements than I ever was when I actually did CrossFit. So what I would say is those girls need to pull right back and focus on the strength sport first, and then all the other stuff will be easier afterwards. Because our Tia Marie Claire, she's the best in the world, and she's Australian. She's going to the Olympics for Olympic lifting. So she was that first, and then she was a CrossFitter second.
She's also competed as a powerlifter for us in Australia as well.
But we're stronger than her, I want everyone to know.
It's true, stronger. So on that advice, I want my last question. If you were giving advice to yourself, like when you were 20, what would the advice be?
I'd still give myself that advice. It would be just be kinder to yourself. Stop trying to prove yourself all the time, because I don't think I need to prove anything anymore. I just need to be who I am. You know what I mean? And back in those days, I had a deep yearning to one day be extremely good at something. And I thought that it would never happen. So I would beat myself up. And that was what started the bad cycle, I guess. And so I would just be, like what I said, focus on one thing and make it better. Be kind to yourself. And it's so hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're also, like I said, we're also trying to be everything for everybody at all times. So maybe be everything for yourself for a little while.
Thank you for being so open with us today.
Okay, sorry for crying all the time.
Quite a few of us will cry.
I'm just so grateful that you were able to come. Obviously, we've been friends for a while, and when I knew I wanted to do this, you had to be here. So that
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing is, if you ever think that you're too old, you've messed up too much, you're too unhealthy, too overweight, too anything, just think of me. I was too old, I was messed up, and I managed to pull myself against all odds. I was told I'd never lift. Just think of that. I managed to make something of myself, if you know what I mean. So I have an example of what you can do, we can all do, you know. Does that sound arrogant?